from Poshcat Crafts. Nice of you to join me. This is part 2 in our album, our gatefold mini album that we've made using Tonic Memory Book 2 dies. This album, if you want to see how we made this album, the outer cover and the spines, you need to head over to part 1, and I'll put the link in that little corner there. So if you want to click on that, then that takes you back to the very beginning, and it shows you how we made up the spines, the 2 front covers and the back cover as well. But in this video we're going to be looking at making this page, and this page is made up of a belly band, some tonic dies here, some tags that we've made. This is just held in place by some magnetic snaps that is going to hold everything in place. And then if we turn it over, on the back of the page is just another belly band that's held together with some magnets, and you can put a tag in there which then the belly bands will snap and hold in place there. And then this one has got a pocket that you can pull out the little tag that is inside, and I've modified this page by punching out a section that allows you easy access to the tag inside. So we'll go through how we're going to make that as well. So in the first video I said that you needed to cut out 12 pages for the inner pages, and that's because we've got 6 pages but obviously double-sided, so that makes the 12. As you know, the memory book, the dies on the page dies especially, they have only got 3 cutting edges. This edge is left uncut, and that's to allow you to trim down to what size you want your page to be. But for the pages we're going to cut down from the stitched embossed line to about 1/8 of an inch, so that it leaves a nice even border all the way round. So I'm going to get on and do that and get my trimmer. And hopefully you can see, there we go. And then I'm just going to position it so that I can just trim down and trim off that excess. Now for the pages, sorry, not the pages, for the front covers, you will need to leave some of that on, but as I say, if you head on over to part 1 of the gatefold mini album, it goes through step by step on how to create that. Now for this video I'm going to be using one of the Stamperia pads. This one is Dream. I'll put links down below where I've purchased mine from. Just to say, I'm not getting paid to promote anybody on my video. It's just where I buy mine, and where I know that they have things in stock. So as I say, it's entirely my own, and as I say, I'm not getting paid to make these videos or to promote anybody in any way. So with that being said, let's get started. So to create the little depression in our page, I'm using something called an envelope punch board. You can get them pretty cheap. I think I got this one from a very well-known auction site. I picked it up for, you know, not very much money. But if you haven't got one of these, you could use a circle punch and create the depression with that. Or you could maybe have a look at what dies you've got and maybe repurpose them to create that dip. Alternative, you don't have to have the dip. You could maybe then put Tonic do those the tabs that you can die cut out. You could put those on. They work sufficiently. I wanted a different way of just you know, to give everybody a different idea of what they can do. So with our 2 pages back to back, so make sure that you've got them the right side. So the first one side and the other is exactly the right side. Now for this depression, we're going to measure from our top corner of our inverted curve, and we're going to punch our hole at 1.5. Okay, so 1.5 and punch. Then we're going to flip it over to the other side, and you're still going to punch along that top line, and you're going to punch exactly the same at 1.5. Try and get the 2 pages as aligned and square as you can. Alternatively, you can just cut 1 and 1. You don't have to cut the 2 at the same time. I'm just doing this for quickness. And punch down. And then you're kind of left with like a dip, and then a mountain, a valley, and then another like a straight line. And what we're going to do is we're going to trim off part of that piece of card. So you will need a craft knife or a pair of scissors if you prefer. So how I do it, I measure them up, I try and get them as level as I can, and I'm going to cut off this bit here. Okay, so this part here I'm going to cut off. So we slice down. Now I will do one and then the other. Okay, I won't cut them at the same time because for one it might slip, and it just gives you more control if you do one at a time. So just line them up and slice down. And then there we have our nice little slot that we can use now to put our tag in. Okay, now we are going to work on one side first and then the other. So you need then to pick your pattern paper and cut it out of the layer die that goes with the page die that you've used. So this is my one here. So we're going to be using this one. As I say, this die is the second smallest out of the collection, so it's the second smallest I'm using. It's a nice size, and I just thought it would be a bit different to than creating a huge massive one for a change. Okay, I'm going to go with this side. I quite like the different elements that you have on this sheet. So we need to cut out 2. Okay, there are 2 layers cut out. So we're going to do the same as we have done with the page. We're going to cut our little depression out, but this one we need to work out which side we're going to cut. So I've just placed the 2 sides of my page together, and I'm just going to place this one over the top. So I know that if I use this page, this layer, on this side I'm going to have to cut here. But if I use it on this side, I'm going to have to cut here. And I think this one works a bit better on this side. So we're going to work on this side first. So we need to place this edge up, butt it up to the top of our envelope punch board. Okay, so this is the part here we're going to cut. So our page that we cut was at 1.5, measuring from the top of our curve. This one we're going to go down 1/8 of an inch, so we're going to cut this at 1 3/8 of an inch, and turn over and do the same. Cut at 1 3/8. And when I say turn it over, all you do is flip, so you're actually cutting exactly the same along the top edge. Okay, right. And then this one we are going to place this side, so this we need to cut this bit off here on this side. So again, 1 3/8, 1 3/8. And again, you need your cutting mat, your knife and your ruler. And again, we're cutting this part off, so that's the middle part that is going to be sliced off, so it's that part there. And again with this one, line your ruler up with the bottom edge of the curve and cut. And there you have two perfect layers. Now don't forget, if you're inking your edges, you need to make sure you ink them before you put them on. And so I'm just going to quickly do that now. Okay, so that's them done. So now we need to make, because we're doing this side first, we need to cut out our sort of corner die here so that our tags can sit in. You don't have to cut that out. Actually, I might not. I think I'm going to leave that out because our belly band will hold our tags in place, and it would also then give a different feel to each page instead of having, you know, 3 pages the same. So we're going to work on this side, so this is our front page. This would be this page like so. But we're going to work on here. So let me just get these right. So if we're working on this page, okay, we're going to work on, because I'm going to put them, I'm actually going to put this page on this hinge here. I'm going to do it on the next one up. Now the reason for that is this page that's going to be on here, I'm not going to have it as bulky so that the pages sit quite snugly together. So we're going to miss this one and just do a straightforward page for those, but we're going to put them on the middle one. This is the this one here. So I'm going to work on this page, so we can go ahead and stick our pattern paper down. Okay, this is why I like to use the wet glue, because it does give a little tiny bit of wiggle room. There we go. So that is that. And then we're just going to make this up. So you need to cut your card 1.5 inches by 3 by 3, and the same again, 1.5 by 3. Let's just see how this is going to look. Yes, that's fine. You'll need your scoreboard, and we cut these 1/2 inch too wide, so then if you score down at 1/2 inch, okay, like that, and then that then becomes our glue tab. But before we stick them in, we need to round our edges, and I'm going to use the 1/4 inch rounder, like so, and again like so. So that was 1.5 inches wide by 3 inches lengthways, and then we scored at a 1/2 inch mark, okay, and then that gives us our lovely sort of belly band. Now we need to cut our pattern paper. This is just an offcut of one that I've used already. So we need to cut this at, I'm going to use this side. No, I have to use that side, sorry. We're going to cut this at 2 3/8 of an inch, okay, and then we need to buy 1 3/8 of an inch. Make sure you've got a straight edge first. So 1 3/8, and again round the edges. And there we have it. Right, we are going to put them, fix them onto our card, onto our page, and I'm just going to use some wet glue because that's what I've got handy. You can use double-sided tape, that works beautifully. Now we're going to put our glue on to the inside of our tab. So where the tab folds in, we're going to put it here, okay? If my glue works. Yet again. Sorry about this. Okay. That is the only thing about that glue. It dries up in the nozzle so quickly, and it doesn't matter what you do, it doesn't, even if you put the top on, it still dries up. Okay, so we've got our belly band into place, and it's nice and level, because what I've done is I've put it into that sort of dip. I've put one in there. Okay, now we can put on our magnets. Now I've only got little ones left. So we're going to use 3. Because these ones are smaller, these are, I think these these are not as strong for some reason. I don't know why. I think they're not as thick. So we need a few more. So I'm going to put one on the top, and I'm just going to put so one goes on the top there, and then I'm going to put one underneath, one there. Okay, so one on that side, and then let's come off, one on the front, one underneath, and then we're just going to put one onto the other flap to hold it down. But I'm going to use a little bit of double-sided tape. I seem to always have a lot of trouble with these magnets for some unknown reason. So what I've done is I've put the non-tacky side of the double-sided tape just over the magnet, and I'm just going to allow that to stick on there. I'm just going to turn it round so that, and then I'm just going to push that double-sided tape down, and hopefully it'll stick. And then that one will hopefully stick, like so. Push it down over that magnet. There we go. There, it's nice and secure. And let's take that off. Then we'll put this one on. And then this, I'll use that one for the outside, and then this can go on the other, like that. And then this is the top cover. Make sure it goes over that magnet. And then that's our closure. Okay, all done. And because you've got the 3 on there, it's pretty strong now. And then when you put your tags under, hopefully it's not going to spring up. So our tag, we could have a long one in there. Let's have a look what we've got. I could go with this die collection that I've got. I'm afraid I don't know what it's called. I've chopped the bottom bit off. But that would fit in. That would fit in there quite nicely. So I think we're going to have that one. And then I need to find the layer. Which I think is this one. And I think these ones are something like the Rivoli. I think that's what they're called. Something like that anyway. Might be the Rivoli. Oh, it's annoyed me that I've cut the right, so let's have another go. Right, so that's there. Okay, what we've cut now. So we've cut 2 of the bigger dies, and that one then is going to be our base card. So these are going to be our base. They look really small on the television actually. They look smaller than what they actually are. Find my ruler, I'll measure them for you. Okay, so they measure nearly 5 inches. They measure from tip to tip, to just give you an idea. And then we've cut the smaller ones, so we've cut 2 of the smaller ones out of our pattern paper and then 2 out of our plain cardstock. The plain cardstock I'm going to put onto the back side of our tag, and I'm just going to ink these edges. I'm not going to ink the edges of the cream card stock because I don't want it to smudge. I want that to be quite pristine and clear. Okay. You will have to do both sides of your tag. Okay, right, so let's put these on. So that is one. And the other, we're going to use this side. Okay, one on there like so, and then one on here. Okay, so that's one, and then the pattern paper like so. And then these are going to just slot in. Hopefully there's going to be enough so they don't fall. Yes, that's plenty. If they slide out, you could always make 3 up if you wanted to, instead of just the two, but the two just fit in there nicely. Now I'm going to find let's have a look what I think I might use that one. Yes, I'm going to go with this Follow Your Dreams. I think that's a lovely sentiment. So I'm just going to get my scissors that I haven't got the serrated edge. As much as I love the Tim Holtz one, if you were the scissors, if you're doing anything like this, I find that I don't like the serrated edge. There we go. So I'm going to mat this then onto some craft card and then also onto some black card, and then that will make it stand out. Ink the edges. Inking the edges of things that you've cut freehand does actually hide the imperfections, so just remember that for so just a little tip for you. So now I need some extra paper, so I'm going to put this onto here and I'm going to just stick it down, and just then I need to cut around the edges. Again, I'm just doing this freehand. There we go. That one I've got a bit skew with on. There we are. There. And then again, ink your edges. Just running out a bit of ink. And then I'm going to add it on the, so it's just going over the edge like so, and then, or you could have it there, it's quite nice there, but I think I'm going to have it just over the edge. Might have it this way actually. Yes, I think that way looks better, I think. Or you could have it a bit further down or a bit up. It's entirely up to you, it's your book, but I quite like it there. So I'm going to put some 3D foam tape on. Now I'm not going to put it right up to the edge because one, you don't want it to stick to the page underneath if it's not there we go. If I'd have stuck it, say like that, if I'd have stuck it right to the edge, you might have seen some of the foam tape, so I've kind of put it more to the middle. Okay, take off the backing and then think about how you're going to have it sort of there, I think. Okay, just push those ones in. It's showing a little bit, but that's okay now, it's not, it's okay. So then that is your first sort of page complete. Now I am actually going to leave it there, and I'll come back with part 3 for the page that goes on the back. Otherwise my videos are getting far too long. But we will put it on like this, and then as you can see it's sitting quite nicely. We don't want it to be bulky and then this not shut, so it's like this. So we want them quite nice and tight. Right, if you've enjoyed this video, please give me a like. If there's anything that you want me to explain more, please leave me a comment down below. I always try and answer them as quickly as I can. As soon as I see them, I answer. please subscribe to my channel. I'd love to have you as one of my subscribers. That way you can keep up to date with all my crafty videos that are happening in the future. Follow me on social media. I will put the links again in the description down below. I will be back in the next couple of days with the next installment. So with saying that, I will sign off and I will see you on the next one. Bye. I prefer to use a craft knife because I find I get more of an exact cut.